Hey, welcome back to a new video and Happy New Year's Eve if anyone's watching this today. Not done a video for a while, so figured I'd just do one today. We are now pretty much broad about 4 months post-operation now. So just giving you an update on how things are going and also to answer some questions which have been raised to me over the last couple of months. So hopefully I'll be able to answer some of those and hopefully put some minds to ease. Ease some minds, sorry, it's been a long day already. Right, so, you know, where are we? So 4 months. So 4 months post-operation. Any pain is I suppose is a question for most people. No, there is no actual pain for day-to-day activities. However, the difference I have found is that the way to describe it is more sort of it feels like a slight bruising. Not when doing normal things like walking or doing general side of things, but if you were, a good example being, certainly from my side of things, is when you've had a shower, all perfectly fine having a shower, no issues there at all. When you're using a towel to towel dry. Now, I don't know whether or not it's because it's there's still quite some level of sensitivity there, but certainly I cannot myself use a towel to dry myself rigorously in that area. I have to dry myself. If I was to do it rigorously, it actually is quite sore and it feels quite tender still. Again, same with running. So I went out last night, actually did a distance run, which was actually quite good. But I found after a while, it starts to get tender there still. So again, it feels like a slight bruising. It's not painful and it does not excruciating pain. It just feels bruised. Now, I'm assuming, and this is from what I've read from various forums and other people who have been through this circumstance as well, is that the actual healing process can take up to about a year. So be it that I'm 4 months in, I'm only a third of the way through the actual healing process. And if I was to judge it by how I feel after 4 months further away and how it is, I can imagine that in the next 4 months it's going to be even feeling better, and certainly in the year it's going to feel even better. And I'm hoping that bruise or tenderness feeling which I feel through long runs or using a towel will be there. In terms of sensitivity, yeah, sensitivity is definitely still there. I've read a lot of, and I'm sure everybody who has looked at this operation has read a lot of horror stories out there that you lose all sensitivity in having this done. I can 100% say very, very minor amount of sensitivity has been lost. I know this because if I try to wear jogging bottoms without any boxers on, yeah, it's still sensitive. It's something I wouldn't be able to walk around at any great distance for. So around the house, bits and pieces, perfectly fine. But if you'd say to me, go for a walk up to town, a couple of miles there and back and just joggers without boxers on, yeah, I wouldn't even bother attempting that. It'd be pretty uncomfortable. In terms of sensitivity in more intimate areas, masturbation, that side of things, yeah, I mean, this is a different point of discussion, really, where I have mentioned it before. Masturbation is now different. It's not like it is a difference. So where you have a foreskin and not a foreskin, the way you masturbate is completely different. When I say not completely different, but it is different, you do need to use some form of lubrication, certainly to make it a little less dry and a little less painful, a lot less painful. But in terms of sensitivity side of things in that side of the area, not that much of a loss of sensitivity, if I'm honest with you. Maybe 10% loss, but it's not great at all, and it's certainly not something to be concerned about. So reading those horror stories where people have written and said that you will lose all sensitivity, it's the worst thing ever, and you're never going to enjoy masturbation or sex again. I can't speak for everybody, I can speak for myself, but from my side of things, it doesn't seem to have happened that way. Some people have said it's still early, so sensitivity will decrease over the longer periods. So in 2-3 years' time, it will be completely different. I can't comment on that yet. I'm not 2-3 years down the line. But at the moment, so far, so good. Things are okay in that area, sensitivity. In terms of scarring, another question being asked. What I've been using is bio oil. So it's very cheap to buy. You can buy it in Boots, buy it in Tesco's, any of those supermarkets. And I've been rubbing bio oil into the skyline pretty much daily from month 2, I would say, maybe sort of area. And yeah, it's helped. What it's done is actually reduce the scar line. There is obviously going to be a scar. You can't get rid of a scar. There's going to be a faint line there. But it has reduced any ridges, which I know some people have also mentioned that they get a scar line ridge. In my side of things, that ridge is pretty much gone. The only difference you can see a difference in colour between the glands and the foreskin. There is a difference of colour where the foreskin is slightly darker. But in all intents and purposes, you know, if you were to close your eyes and run your finger over the scar line, it's pretty much flattened off now, so there is no ridges there. Swelling's all but gone. There is no swelling anymore there, so that's good. Certainly if you're watching this video and you're in your first few weeks or in your first few months, you are going to have swelling, and it can be quite untoward when you see that swelling. You think, oh my god, it just looks horrendous, doesn't look like it's ever going to go down. I can assure you from personal experience, it does go down, and that swelling does go away. Everybody's different on how they heal. So it could take a couple of months, it could take, you know, a bit longer than that. But yeah, just bear with it, and it certainly does heal itself. So yeah, swelling does reduce. In terms of nighttime erections, you know, it's pretty, you know, it's another question which gets asked: do you still suffer with pain in nighttime erections? No, not at all. That stopped after about 6 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks, then less than that actually, to be fair. About 6 weeks there was no pain there at all. In the first 3 weeks, you probably will have stitches if you've had the stitch method or the glue method. So that's the worst part. Yeah, first few weeks is certainly the worst part in terms of nighttime erections, and that's because of the stitches pulling on the skin and the skin needing to get a bit more stretched. So it is painful, and unfortunately it's something you can't get around very easily. The best solution, which I found and everybody kept saying to me, was before we go to bed, don't drink any water. Try to dehydrate yourself, because water in your bladder naturally makes you have an erection in the night. So try to minimise that, and try to minimise watching anything or anything raunchy or saucy on TV, and that will also help as well. Way I tried to help, what I did to try and make things heal a little bit quicker was a lot of air. So what I would do, because I'm quite fortunate where I live in a place where nobody can see in my windows, that I could actually walk around my place without boxers on, without jogging bottoms on, and let a lot of air get to the area, and that really did help heal a lot quicker. So yeah, so I'd highly recommend that side of things. And certainly don't go and try and do anything too vigorous in terms of running in the first early stages, where you're going to sweat and it's just going to be uncomfortable and it's not pleasurable at all. And the last thing you want to do now, after having an operation like that, is causing any form of damage. And the other thing which I would definitely stress is the doctors will tell you, do not masturbate or have any sexual activity for 6 weeks. I highly agree with that. I just think if you've come through an operation like this, the last thing you want to do is cause damage just for a matter of a couple of weeks. It's not worth it. And I'm very glad that I actually did last longer than that. Actually, it took me a bit longer than that before I decided to do any form of self-pleasure. And I'm grateful I did. One thing I did find actually, again, with the self-pleasure side of things, is when the stitches are all out, what I found was the skin was very tight, and when you get an erection, it just felt very tight on the skin. But combining the bio oil and time, it's actually now alleviated that, so it's actually not that painful anymore, and it actually feels completely normal, as if it was it did beforehand. Size changed. Another question someone asked me is, has size changed? No, size hasn't changed. The only thing you've had removed is a foreskin, so you've not had your penis cut in half in any way, so a size is completely fine. Maybe in the first couple of weeks it may, or first couple of months, it may feel like you've probably lost size, but that could be because you're probably not, because of the pain and probably psychologically, you're not getting a full erection, so you're probably not at the size that you will be. So I can assure you that there is no issues there at all. Other things, trying to think of anything else which kind of got raised really. Oh yeah, circumcision type. I covered this off in another video. However, people have asked me what sort of circumcision did I have, and it was, I believe, a high and tight circumcision. I thought it was slightly different, but I think the reason I thought it was slightly different because I looked at it in very early stages. So you know, you can't actually get a proper feel for what it really actually looks like once it's actually healed. But it's actually a high and tight circumcision, so it's actually tight, reasonably tight. There is some movement on the foreskin still. You can still move it, so it's not like you're trying to roll your hand along a pencil where there is no movement at all. Pencil's probably not the best description. Yeah, certainly not one I'd want to use. But you get the idea where it's a smooth surface which doesn't move. So it's not like that. There is some movement and give on there, but it was a high and tight circumcision, and I believe that's the most common one a surgeon will do for you. But you do have options, so any surgeon you do use, it's always good to discuss the options available to you and be comfortable with what you're actually going through. Other question I had someone raised was actually right at the beginning: was the actual procedure painful? No, I mean, the actual procedure itself was very painless. It's more, as everybody now knows who's gone through this, it's to follow up the first few months after, which is the more painful side of things. But the actual operation itself isn't actually that painful at all. The only pain I had was having the anaesthetic injected in, and you can imagine any form of needle in a sensitive area, certainly around your penis, is going to be very painful. And yeah, that wasn't pleasurable at all. But once the anaesthetic was in, the actual procedure itself was done in I think it was about 40 minutes, no more than that, and it was fine. There was no issues there at all. So yeah, no, don't be concerned about that side of it. It's more the follow-up side of things, which is the worst part. So anyone contemplating this for a medical or cosmetical reason, certainly do your research and be mindful that for a few months afterwards, it's not comfortable, and you know, it's not going to be fun. But you know, like I said earlier in this don't talk about letters, earlier in this video, I'm 4 months in now, and day-to-day activities, day-to-day side of things, cleaning, washing, going toilet, anything like that is perfectly fine. There is no pain there, just a slight tenderness if you be a bit more rough around the area. Another person asked me a question: do I feel embarrassed having this done? Have I, you know, in the showers? Being COVID times at the moment, I haven't actually been having the showers at my gym often, but a couple of times I have had a shower there. I've not felt embarrassed at all, and I think if anyone's staring at me in that way, then you know, that's up to them. I don't feel embarrassed about that side of things. I'm not naturally a shy person myself, so yeah, so I'm not actually embarrassed about that. Have I told anybody about this, that I've had this operation? Yeah. Being completely honest and upfront with everybody, or anybody who wants to know, friends, family. And it's actually quite interesting. The more I speak to people, friends, family, I've actually found that it's actually more common than I actually realised. And there's a lot of guys out there who do have situations with tight foreskins and tears and anything like those ways. And you know, they don't want to talk about it and try and sweep it under the covers, and they use, you know, that they don't want to highlight that they're having issues. There's nothing to be embarrassed about this side of things. It's worth speaking to professionals, speaking to your doctors, and getting a full range of solutions which might be suitable for you. Circumcision, as I've said loads of times, it's the last resort. It's something I would not have done if I didn't need to do it, and I did it for a medical reason. It wasn't for cosmetic in any way. It's for purely medical reason. It was a matter of if I don't get it done, then there could be some serious consequences for me, and those consequences were outweighed not doing it. So, but I did try different variations, different methods to try and correct things and that, but unfortunately that wasn't going to help because of certain other underlying issues which I did have, which forced me to go down this route. So yeah, so I think I'll leave it there. So what I'll do is do another video maybe in a couple of months to give an update on how things are going, and hopefully if anyone's got any more questions they want to ask me, or I'm happy to answer, please put them in the comments below. But otherwise, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, And let's look forward to a very exciting and healthy 2022. Thanks for watching.